Hi there, folks. How are you doing? I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. And I offer this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit, and the soul. And it's titled, "The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music." Universalism inspired Oscar Hammerstein. A friend of mine sent me a message the other day stating, "I've never been called a nerd before. I quite like it." She had been gently teased earlier in the day as she's been showing a group of us an app on her phone which detailed the number of inclines in the Peak District that she'd recently climbed and all the ones she'd yet to climb. She seemed so thrilled with this. She has in recent times taken to going off on her own on long country walks, buying maps, learning to read them and all kinds of things related to these little adventures of hers. She's having a ball actually, and it's wonderful to see such enthusiasm for life. So I replied to her message, "Climb every mountain," and I meant both metaphorically and literally in her case actually. I'm sure she'll give it a go, everyone. Well, later in the week she told me 15 since mid-February, so another 80 to go. I'm so nerdy. Nerdy these days instead of needy. Just lovely. Such a delight. Climb every mountain has been on my mind actually these last few days. I was smiling and singing it actually last Sunday as I drove between the two services from Urmston to Altrincham. The seed had been planted by two of the members at Urmston, John Poskett and Graham Harrison, who had actually heard reference to Oscar Hammerstein II's childhood and his upbringing at the Sunday school at a Unitarian church, as they described it, in New York, and how this early childhood had influenced his life and his work. So, this week I've been climbing every mountain myself, and I've been exploring Hammerstein and his influences, which were actually Universalism as it was. Universalism is a faith based on hope, exemplified actually in songs of Hammerstein like "Climb Every Mountain" or "You'll Never Walk Alone" or "The Cockeyed Optimist." Hammerstein wrote and spoke much about these influences in his work really, and here's a quote by himself, Oscar Hammerstein himself. "In art, the goodness of the human spirit must be fighting for its life. People must leave the theatre, the church, or the lecture hall with a deeper faith and higher interest in humankind than they brought in with them." His optimism grew from his sense in the joy of living. He engaged with what was beautiful in the world and encouraged those who engaged with him to see it too. He was not denying the troubles of life, just pointing to life's beauty. He sang the joy of living in all its mystery. In so doing, he was preaching the gospel of hope, the universalism of his childhood. Again, as he wrote, "I know the world is filled with troubles and many injustices, but reality is as beautiful as it is ugly. I think it is just as important to sing about beautiful mornings as it is to talk about slums. I just couldn't write anything without hope in it." Or, as in the song from Oklahoma, "Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling everything's going my way. Hammerstein's father was from a Jewish family and he was prominent in the New York theatre world. He didn't want his son to go into it, by the way. He wanted him to be a lawyer, to study law. Hammerstein's mother was from a British liberal Protestant family. I suspect they may have been Unitarians, but I don't know. As a child, Hammerstein attended the Church of the Divine Paternity in New York, a church which is now the fourth Universalist society in the city of New York and a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist denomination. The Unitarians and Universalists became one denomination in the 1960s, not long actually after Hammerstein's death due to stomach cancer. Hammerstein carried his spirit of universalism with him throughout his life, and it's there in all his work. It is how he engaged with life. It was foundational to him, and what was foundational to him was the following: the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, and salvation by character. This was etched into his soul. Now, of course, the language is a little old-fashioned for nowadays. Man, of course, in those days meant every human being. It wasn't referring to male. So it's important to understand that he was a man of his time. The God of love, though, that he believed in, loved all equally. And you will find universalist themes throughout Hammerstein's lyrics, themes such as hope, compassion, and the potential for human goodness was threaded throughout the lyrics of Oklahoma, Carousel, South Pacific, The King and I. It is incredible to think that this joy-filled musical theatre was actually some of the most powerful social commentary of its time, something he brought to musical theatre, really, whilst also it being joyful and fun. Just actually think about the following verses from South Pacific, reflecting on the internalized racism of Lieutenant Cable and Nellie as they refusing to marry into a mixed race family. Cable sang, "You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught it from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught." Hammerstein's work revealed his universalism so beautifully. These musicals are a wonderful exploration of his theological depth, actually, although not obviously. In his work, you see the universalist belief in the possibility for change, for hope, for human progress. You see God at the heart of this, a loving God who accepts all, a divine unity. You see the possibility for redemption and the restoration of the soul, as well as his belief in the social gospel and in the assertion of human unity. You know what? Perhaps we ought to re-examine some of these musicals in these divisive times. And they're joy-filled too. And isn't that something that we all need? I certainly do. I might watch one this weekend. Hammerstein was hope-filled. He believed in the God of love and that this love is what ought to be at the heart of what we do. He wrote constantly about love in its many and varied forms, and he also his songs were about never losing sight of what is wholesome and what is beautiful in this world. This is something I've been really focused on in recent weeks, as my friend has been doing so as she's been climbing every mountain. The hills are alive with the sound of music. May it all fill our hearts. Hammerstein's faith was about how we engage with this world. It was a conversation fueled by hope and possibility and beauty. Despite the very real troubles that we all face, they were written in times of trouble, don't forget. It's important, how we face, how we greet life, the conversations we have with life, and the conversations life has with us. Another friend sent me a message this week. She'd been reading a book I gave to her as a present several years ago. An amusing exploration around the origins of words, about etymology, something I love, as you know, one of my joys. The book is called The Etymologicon by Mark Forsyth. And the word that she reminded me of was the word ciao. Ciao. A greeting that's kind of become universal all over the world, really, over the last 100 years or so. And it comes from an old Venetian dialect word, se ciao, which was translated originally to mean, I am your slave. Clearly, it's a word that had very unpleasant origins, actually. That said, in time, as so much language does, it evolved to mean, ciao, I am at your service, or I am here for you if you need me. So ciao became a way to express deep respect, loyalty, and trust. It became a universal phrase that encompassed everybody in spite of their social standing. It was a greeting that expressed deep devotion and love. Maybe actually Oscar Hammerstein ought to have turned it into a song. I would love to sing it. Ciao, baby. Ciao, baby. Ciao, baby. Maybe I can turn it into a song. No, I'm no lyricist, I'm afraid. Maybe get Oliver, my friend, to do it. I received another message from a friend this week too. She's back home visiting family in Transylvania. And they brought to my mind those beautiful and soulful people and their lovely phrase, which, like ciao, is both a greeting and a way of saying goodbye, waving goodbye, really. The phrase being ishtanadjon, meaning God bless. I love that both ciao and ishtanadjon are ways of saying hello and waving goodbye. They're blessings, really. There's something loving, respectful and beautiful about them. They are lovely ways of beginning and ending a conversation, if you like. For it matters how we greet the world and how the world greets us. And that's what I've been doing all week, really. As I've lived through this week, I've been noticing how I engage with people and how I engage with life and how it engages with me, what my conversation with everything is and what its conversation with me is. Like the spring weather, it has been ever, ever changing. Sometimes you can have 4 seasons in one day. There's a song too, isn't there? Not by Oscar Hammerstein. The poet, philosopher and former marine zoologist David White sees our lives as focused on what he calls the great conversation. The great conversation we have with ourselves and the great mysteries of life which surround us. He calls this the conversational nature of reality. And like White, I have come to believe that the essence of any real conversation is attention. It is about paying attention to that space where we meet life and where life meets us. I suspect that it is in this space that God truly comes to life, or at least this is what my experiences teach me. I think Hammerstein probably felt the same way. It's a song I love to sing the joy of living in all its mystery. I love the way that David White describes the conversational nature of reality, that we are constantly in conversation, whether we are speaking or not, actually. We're in this conversation, so long as we are alive, awake, and fully engaged. It's more than mindfulness, although, some may equate it to that, but there's more to it, actually. There is a spiritual depth deeper than the surface too. And what David's talking about, this spirituality in everything, is beautifully illustrated in his poem, Everything is Waiting for You. Everything is waiting for you, after Derek Mahan. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence and the voice and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you or the window latch grants you freedom. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. And the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and the creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. Be lovely to turn that into a song, wouldn't it? I love the way that White, through his words, encourages us to feel the grand away, the swelling presence and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. He insists that the frontier of this profound reality of the world can be found in the intimacy of your surroundings, in the way the soap dish enables you or the window latch grants you freedom. But the key line is this. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. That it's about being alive to everything and allowing everything to be alive to you. It's more than just mindfulness. It's about being in conversation with everything and everything in conversation with you. With everything in you and you in everything. The divine unity, if you like. Everything is waiting for you. Everything is waiting for all of us. The conversation is reality. The beauty and profound nature of reality is everywhere in everything, even the kettle boiling as you make your cup of tea for a guest. All we have to do is bring our attentiveness to the frontier between self and the rest of creation and then enter into conversation with it. We must come out of abstraction and back into the world. That's where the real spirit comes alive, and I'm sure that's what Hammerstein was doing. And he was making it more beautiful by making it a show. The spiritual life is about living more spiritually alive in this life. It is about increasing our sensitivity to life itself. It's about increasingly being affected and therefore becoming more effective in this life. Bringing that spirit alive and having a good time too. I have come to understand that at its core, the spiritual life is about relationships. Relationships with life, with each other, with ourselves, and with God, however we understand God. And how do relationships develop? Well, through conversation, through sharing ourselves with each other, not by losing ourselves, but becoming ourselves through our conversations with the other, both lower and uppercase. We relate through conversation, and thus we grow spiritually through relationship. And if you want to make it fun, make it a song we can all sing. Sing as a song that we know to be true. We have to believe, of course, that we belong here, that we do not reject our humanity or that of any other. Everything is waiting for us. More than that, everything needs us to engage in this conversation with life. Life needs all of us. Everything is waiting for all of us. Everything is waiting for us. So, I invite you to join with me in the conversational nature of reality. Let's sing the joy of living. Let's sing the mystery. When you walk through a storm, keep your chin up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is the golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Life is alive all around us and within us. We are part of it, and we play a crucial role within it. So may the love that is God come alive within us. Let's climb every mountain. Who knows what we'll find at the summit? For the hills are alive with the sound of music. And here's some lyrics from that lovely song. My heart wants to beat like the wings of the bird that rise from the lake to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like the chime that flies from a church on a breeze. To laugh like a brook when it trips and falls over stones in its way. To sing through the night like a lark who is learning to pray. I go to the hills when my heart is lonely. I know I will hear what I've heard before. My heart will be blessed with the sound of music. And I'll sing once more. It's all alive within us and all around us. Amen. So I'm going to end with some final words of blessing. You know, we all need to bless more. We can all bless. We bless when we give ourselves wholeheartedly to life. So let's give our hearts and souls and bodies and everything to life. Let's bless life, and it will bless us too. Some final words by one of the fathers of Universalism, John Murray. Slightly adapted. Go out into the highways and byways. Give the people something of your new vision. You may possess only a small light, but uncover it. Let it shine. Use it in order to bring more light and understanding to the hearts and minds of men and women. Give them not hell, but hope and courage. Preach the kindness and everlasting love of God. And may we bring this love, the kindness and everlasting love of God, may we bring it alive through our lives, through our very human being. And may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Go in love and in peace. Ciao, baby. Amen.